We forgot to introduce ourselves, so this is us from the future. Hello, my name is Syd.
And I'm Chris. And this is Clothesline Podcast.
We've never done that before.
Yeah, maybe that's for the best.
Maybe we should never do that again. Even my phone's telling me I look half asleep.
And now my cat is fucking screaming. Hold on. Come on. Come on.
Kitty. Oh.
This is my baby boy.
Look at the baby boy.
Hey, sometimes he just wants to be held. Okay.
He's got really white claws. Those things are sharp.
Yeah. He hates it when you cut his claws.
Oof.
Anyway, do we have, like, a set intro yet?
No.
What's up, sinners?
What's up, sinners?
Welcome to the Clothesline.
Take
a seat and string him up.
String him up.
See, this is going to be interesting because at the end of the day, I am like all loosey-goosey and then you're like just starting your day. So.
Well, yeah, I have been awake for a little while because I had the weirdest dreams, but.
Oh yeah, you said you had nightmares.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of dreams about like ancient gods, which is completely irrelevant to anything else in my life. Like last week, I had a dream that one of my maternal ancestors, who I have no idea who this person was, told me to look up ancient Sumerian deities and told me two of them by name. So I did, and went down a giant rabbit hole.
I don't know how to respond to that.
I think I'm like ascending. No, I don't know. It's very weird. So last night, it was just a freaky dream that lasted a really long time because there was like this ancient Egyptian god that I don't remember exactly how it happened, but my partner died. Like, it wasn't a sacrifice, but yeah, I don't know. He just like got, I guess, like wrong place, wrong time type situation. Yeah, so the whole dream was me trying to figure out like how to commune with my partner's ghost, because I missed him so bad.
Oh my god.
I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know. There's some weird stuff happening. So, yep.
That's funny because I watched a sci-fi movie last night called The Endless, and it's about these two brothers who have left a cult, and then as adults they go back to say goodbye because the cult members are supposedly ascending, which they think means they're all going to kill themselves, but there might be something else. Fang, shut up! He just needs love and attention.
Clingy boy.
He's so clingy. He really is. Do you want me to read the disclaimer before we start?
Well, you haven't read the disclaimer yet, so maybe that could be fun.
I have not. That's why I volunteered, because it's only fair.
Go for it.
Okay. This is our disclaimer. Disclaimer. This episode includes conversations about things like religious trauma, mental health, abuse, and other topics like that. We are not doctors or psychologists. This podcast is not intended to give official advice or anything serious. We're simply here to share our stories and talk about these things in a very real and human way. Our intention is for you to feel less alone, less crazy, and more supported. Now let's get into it.
The urge for me to, like, lip sync. I wanted to do it so bad.
Well, I'm proud of you for restraining yourself.
But we should try that one day. I don't know how many people are watching on video, but that would be quite funny.
Yeah, that's, I guess that's the first big news we should get out of the way, is that we released episode 1 this week.
We did. We were going to wait until the weekend, and then it just was like, what about tomorrow? And then you were like, I think midweek is best. And I was like, let's just do it now.
Yeah.
Out of fucks to give. Let's just do it.
It just shows how excited we are about it.
Yeah, we're just excited, and this is the chaotic energy that we love. And yeah, I feel like allowing ourselves to be excited is very important. I mean, obviously, for the people listening right now, clearly episodes 1 and 2 are out.
That's another thing. I don't remember what we talked about in episode 2, so sorry if we repeat some stuff today.
Oh, also, I had a thought this morning. So I remember
Tell me.
In episode 1, we were talking about Adventures in Odyssey, right? And I remember saying something about, like, there was one episode where they were talking about Eleazar. And I can't remember if I got my Eleazar and Lazarus mixed up, because at some other point in that conversation, I remember saying, that's the guy who rose from the dead, right? And I think we'd moved on to Lazarus, but I couldn't, I can't keep the time straight in my head. Like, did I get Lazarus and Eleazar mixed up because of the Z sound, the Z?
It's possible.
Well, I would like to apologize if I did get those biblical figures mixed up. Yeah, that's a little embarrassing, but it's like in the same conversation topic. So because we've released episode 1 officially, I have been promoting it a lot on Threads because I'm so excited about it. And therefore my Threads feed has shifted to be very on evangelical threads. And I'm realizing that I'm actually so embarrassed because I have blacked out so much of the Bible and theology from my head. I'm seeing people post about this stuff. Huh?
Keep talking. Sorry. Keep talking.
Okay. Is everything okay?
Yeah, it's just the play of the cat. I'm gonna have to leave the door open for him.
That's okay.
Okay, so sorry.
That's okay. You look amazing, by the way.
Thank you. It's the self-hatred.
Is that your new septum piercing?
Yes!
It looks so good!
You'll be able to see it better in the fucking video, but yeah,
wow.
It just feels like I have a little booger that's on the verge of dripping out of my nose, but I can't touch it.
I feel that way anyway right now because I have allergies.
Oh no.
But yeah, I was thinking about getting a nose piercing at some point, but I was like, I blow my nose really hard. I don't think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, the septum was way easier than the nostril was.
Really?
I guess it's a faster healing process too, because your septum is kind of up and out of the way. I don't know. That's what the piercer said.
Wow, you look super cool.
Thank you. I mean, speaking of being excited about things, I'm very excited every time I get a new tattoo or a piercing, because it's I'm living the kind of life I wanted when I was a teenager. I never had any piercings or anything. I was 19 before I dyed my hair for the first time. And I think I was 20 when I got my ears pierced. So
Whoa.
I had nothing.
Wait, so was your family the type of family that they didn't allow you to pierce your ears?
I'm sure they would have been fine with it because, my mom has pierced ears. I don't know why we waited so long, now that I come to think of it. I also, waited a really long time to get my driver's license. I waited till I was 18 and I could get it without having to get all the hours with another driver. Yeah, I don't know what that says about me.
It just wasn't a priority at the time, maybe.
Yeah. I have a lot of fear around things like driving and needles. I tend to put those kind of things off until like I absolutely have to. Like, okay, all the cool kids are getting their noses pierced. Guess I gotta, man up.
Now you're like getting tattoos and piercings all over the place, dyeing your hair. That's so cool. I've never dyed my hair, ever.
No way.
Never.
Wow, your hair is just naturally gorgeous.
Stop. Okay, so actually, I'm not counting this, but when I was like 16, I think, I dyed the underside of my hair with Kool-Aid. Yeah.
Wow.
So the purple I thought would be really strong, but it washed out after like 2 washes. The red would not come out of my hair. It absolutely would not. I mean, months passed to the point that I had to go to Walmart and I had to buy blonde hair dye to dye over the Kool-Aid to get it back to my normal shade of blonde. And because I was working at a pharmacy at the time, and they were like, you need to, like, you can't have colored hair. So I was like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had to like
it's
pull it back.
It's wild thinking of... Sorry. I was going to say, it's weird that, like, tattoos and weird color hair used to be way more, like, stigmatized, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because now it's so normal to see, like, business people with, like, hand tattoos.
Yeah.
Or, like, blue hair. Or maybe that's just where I live.
I do wonder about that because, like, here in New Zealand, there's not really, like, I think because the alchemical symbols on my fingers are kind of witchy looking, I feel like depending on the job I was applying for, it might, give a little question mark vibe from the employer. But I feel like here it's super, super chill. Like, New Zealand as a whole is just pretty laid back. And yeah, you see...
Sounds like it.
Yeah, people with all kinds of tattoos doing all kinds of jobs. But I always wonder what it's like in the US because, yeah, back then it's like you can't have any visible tattoos or colored hair or any of that.
I mean, Richmond, Virginia, where I live, is supposedly the most heavily tattooed city in the United States.
Really?
Yeah. And it seems like it. Like, everywhere you look, it's weird to see someone who doesn't have a tattoo here.
I don't know anything about Richmond, but I wouldn't have thought that, like, the highest percentage of tattooed people would be in Virginia. I would have thought it would have been, like, Portland.
It's kind of random.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Ah.
Yeah, I don't know. If you disagree with us, sound off.
Yeah, let us know if you find evidence to the contrary. That's interesting. Well, at least we've stayed on topic so far about tattoos and piercings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to be more structured.
Well, yeah, tell me, you kind of briefly mentioned that we got feedback to be more structured, but I didn't really hear any other details. And I think today we should talk a little bit about, like, where we're starting from and how we want to, like, change moving forward or not.
Well, to be fair,
I don't know.
Episode 1 was definitely all over the place. And I feel like, at least for my personal style, I feel like that was quite fun, Yeah. But then again, I also know that it was us talking. So I'm probably a little desensitized. Whereas if it's someone who hasn't really had exposure to our conversation style or is just kind of entering the Clothesline world, and, it probably was all over the place. And I think it is, I would say most of the feedback that I've gotten, whether people have listened yet or not, is that the stuff that we talk about, it's all like really heavy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your cat has demon eyes behind you.
I know. Dang. I was just noticing that.
It was like this void behind you with these glowing golden orbs.
This
He's
is
so
little Fang,
sweet.
everybody. He's 6 years old. I got him in Olympia, Washington, and he is my son.
Yes, we love him. What was I saying?
We were talking about serious topics.
Yeah, and I think that is something that, at least for me, is important to kind of not get too burdened in the heaviness of it. And so,
Right.
yeah, like a lot of the feedback that I've heard from other people, again, whether they've listened or not, is to have a resource that they can listen to or watch that isn't all doom and gloom, that isn't all like just dark and heavy.
Trauma.
Yeah, like of course there is going to be that. We can't talk about these topics without, acknowledging that this shit is heavy. But I think that our lighthearted, kind of dark-humoured reminiscing about all of these things, like the Adventures in Odyssey cassette tape case that was a whole weapon, That's like so funny and it's so relatable. Also, I mean, I remember the vibe for episode 2. So far, people haven't listened to episode 2, but I think it'll kind of further solidify that, what I've been calling the lighthearted, dark-humoured vibe.
It's perfect.
Yeah. What do you think about all this?
I am just happy to be along for the ride. I feel very grateful to have started this project with you, and I've been really encouraged by the feedback we've gotten so far. Not even necessarily from fellow evangelicals, but just like random people that follow my other stuff on Substack. They're now like subscribing to Clothesline, and they're like, thank you for being honest, and this is an important resource. And that's great. But I have another story that is a little more alarming. So when I shared episode 1 on Facebook, I put, for the privacy setting, viewable by everyone except for. And then I listed my conservative relatives, like my parents, for instance.
Yeah.
And a day later, my parents are in town for my sister's birthday, the one I live with. And we're eating dinner, and my mom turns to me and she goes, "So your religious trauma podcast looks funny."
How did they find out?
I already shared this on my other podcast. I have no idea. I mean, I don't know why I thought I could keep it a secret. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And like I said on my other podcast when I was talking about this, like, I think the point of Clothesline is to, among other things, strengthen our voices and help us feel more autonomous about sharing our story and like owning what we've been through. Like, there's a reason I haven't talked about this stuff like this ever before, because I'm so worried about offending other people or, making other people feel some sort of way. And, my own needs be damned. But even that interaction with my mom, it was unexpected, but, it ended up being kind of like a lighthearted thing. Like, she acknowledged that several of her kids are in therapy, and I don't know. We kind of changed the subject. I think she does feel very guilty and maybe a little apprehensive, but she respects me enough to be like, you just do your thing. I think it's because she subscribed to my Substack that she found out. I told her not to. I'm like, Mom, you can unsubscribe. If you don't like what I'm saying, you can unsubscribe. She's like, oh yeah, you're right. I should just unsubscribe. But I keep getting your stuff in my email. I'm like, that's what it is to be subscribed.
The openness, it sounds like there's a little question mark there. I know I said question mark earlier, but I'm saying it again. There's a question mark there, like you said, acknowledging that she has kids in therapy, and especially what you've told me in the past about just indicating like a sort of general openness,
Mm-hmm.
is something that I don't have at all.
Yeah.
And it does my heart good to see that she does have, the ability and the willingness to question and look at these things from a different perspective. And like, it sounds like she, to whatever degree she's able, she is listening. And that's really encouraging.
Yeah, I don't take it for granted at all. And with that said, of course, our relationship isn't perfect, but I want people to know that with people like us, there exists a wide, spectrum of relationships with our parents. Some people are full on no contact, and then other people maybe they just talk once or twice a year. Other people might see their parents every week. I'm sure there's people who have never left their hometowns that they have to deal with their old life every day. I'm fortunate that I got out, and I've very intentionally maintained distance. I think that's the only way I've been able to have a good relationship with my parents, is because I've kept that boundary there. Because, we don't really talk about anything of substance or anything that could be controversial. And I don't know how much, is just them trying to appease me, but it's a nice gesture at least. And I do want people to know that this podcast isn't just me trash talking them because they of the way they raised us. There's so much nuance, and that almost makes it harder than if they had been horrible people, because it's confusing for a young brain, and it's still confusing to my brain now.
Yeah,
but I know I'm not alone in that.
Yeah, I do think that it would often be easier, exactly what you said, if they were outright horrible people. And, the reason it took me so long to process the abusive relationships that I was in is because they were not physically violent, to my body. It would have been because that just provides such a huge gap of, the social narrative. I'm not going to get into it, obviously, because I'll talk about it forever. But if everything is just very manipulative and subtle and almost giving you this illusion of care and support, that just makes it so much harder to quantify, Whereas if they were a lot more openly, verbally aggressive or physically aggressive, or it would have...
Or openly homophobic.
Yeah. And in the last episode when I told you about my grandmother's attitude towards Ellen and my mom's reaction to the gay scene in The Walking Dead.
So funny. Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. Unmarried nipple. Oh, God. I think about that at least once a week.
I didn't even do that story justice. There's so many things behind the scenes that I didn't even mention that I'm not going to mention.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom and I are very similar, and that's been very difficult at times. I mean, she has had an eating disorder for most of her adult life. She was addicted to alcohol at a time. I mean, we both are sober now. I don't know why I said we are sober now from alcohol. That's also been something that we've gotten to share. We'll get mocktails together when we go to a restaurant. But yeah, it hasn't always been like that. And I think I look so hard for opportunities to connect because I'm so starved for that maternal connection that maybe I don't feel like I have, that I will grasp at anything to relate. When we were drinking together, that was our thing. We would drink together, and she would tell me secrets she never would talk about when she was sober. And that was fun. But then, things get messy, as they often do with alcoholism. And now we're both sober from alcohol, and that's something that we connect on. And it's truly forming a relationship around those things that we do have in common. I mean, I really treasure our friendship. I think I kind of see her as more of a peer at this point than a parent, if that makes sense. It's confusing.
Yeah. There's not really a formula for these types of things. Sure wish there were.
That would be great.
That would be great. I had some stuff come up in therapy last week that left me emotionally hungover for about 5 or 6 days. And it was about exactly what we're talking about, parental relationships. I'm trying to figure out how to sum it up. It's going to be interesting, like, over the course of these podcasts to see how this unfolds. But I am planning a trip back, was in September, because my mother invited me to her little 3-day birthday gathering with just her and my dad and us 3 kids / partners. And it's just given me a lot of grief because, so I went back 3 years ago, and, I was there for quite a long time. I was there for like a month, and that was not a great experience because I just felt very alone. I didn't feel like they really wanted me there. There was no like effort to really hang out. And then towards the end, they were like, come to church with us on a Sunday or on a Saturday night or something. And I was like, no, thanks. And it was always,
can I not?
Can I opt out? Like, is that okay? And it just like caused a huge drama. And they're like, why not? Everyone wants to see you. I'm like, we literally live 3 minutes from the church. If people want to see me so bad, they can come by afterwards, or let's go out to lunch or something, Long story short, it created a huge, horrible vibe. And the next day, I sat down with my mom for like 2 hours and had a big, long conversation because she asked why. And I'm like, that's too much to explain. Like, that's a bigger conversation. So I sat down, I explained about being non-binary, I explained about being queer, all of these, like all of the things, and just not feeling, like not wanting to, especially given all the trauma that I've lived through, not wanting to willingly put myself in a group or in a situation that has a belief that I am capital W wrong inherently, and that invalidates all of the work that I've done to have a positive relationship with myself. And in the course of that conversation, I, said that I was more than willing to take all of the time that it required, indefinite time, to walk with them through being non-binary, through being queer, help educate them, like answer any questions that they had. Basically just really stressing that I wanted a relationship with them. And I know that this was hard because it's very like antithetical to their belief system, but that I was willing to like do whatever necessary to bridge that gap and have some sort of working relationship with them. And then that created more drama, and we never spoke about it again. And I stopped hearing from my parents. Was that 3 years ago? Yeah, it was 3 years ago. I stopped hearing from them. And like only occasionally do I get a text message, whether they need something or like they don't really check up on me. They have not called me a single time. And a lot of this is what was brought up in therapy, is like I so badly want a relationship with them, and I had a meltdown about it. Like, why am I so hard to love? Like, I didn't change I'm the same person. I just found myself. Like, I'm happy. Like, overall, like if we get down to it, I'm not pretending anymore. And why is that so wrong? So basically what my therapist was asking was, is the emotional cost of, going back in September, knowing that they've just completely like ignored this whole conversation and like all the grief that being around them is giving me, and like fully planning like a therapy session for the middle of the trip, like actively in the middle of the trip, is it actually worth it? Like the logistics, the finances, those are easy things to plan. But the emotional weight of this, does it justify all of the moving parts? And I don't really know that it does. I don't really know that
That's
it
so
does.
real.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think your parents, I don't know, I don't want to speak for them, but to me, what you did, being willing to walk them through all that, that is incredibly generous and indicative of goodwill and good, and like, you're giving them the benefit of the doubt. But in any case, like, you are like extending this olive branch to them, and they have, I mean, I can't think of any message more clear than not talking for 3 years. They're just outright rejecting that. And that hurts so much, even just hearing about it. And I know a lot of people can relate that are listening right now. It just sucks.
Yeah, it really
There's
does
nothing,
suck.
that's such a deep wound of being a child, like, who needs / wants their parents, and like, you think your parents are the people that are going to be, you know, supportive of you no matter what. I realized when I was 17 that my dad loved God more than me. I remember having a very, like, a light bulb moment for me. And I think coming to that realization so early on kind of helps to form like emotional calluses, because I'm like, okay, my expectations are clear, you know, like, I'm never going to be as important as God or the church, and he still loves me. You know, two things can be true. And I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm doing like gymnastics just to like have relationships with them. Like, I'm skirting around so much and, you know, walking on eggshells all the time. And I know my mom would say, like, you don't have to walk on eggshells all the time. Like, we love you. But like, I still have to. I know I have to. That's how it is with my parents. It's like saying one thing, but feeling another thing. And I'm deeply familiar with the worldview that they're coming from. And I just know at the end of the day, they're praying for me to like see the light. And that feels so duplicitous, and it's just a shitty feeling.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I said, I'm very grateful I have them in my life at all. They have helped me out a lot since I had to move to Virginia from Seattle. I was like very sick and I had no support, and they really came through for me in 2021 when that happened. And I think moving here, I'm like currently an hour and a half away from their town, so it's a pretty perfect distance. We can still, you know, go see them for holidays and stuff, or for the odd weekend trip, but they're still like far away enough to have like our own lives.
Yeah. I so understand the whole, exactly what you said, you know, like, but you don't have to walk on eggshells, like, but I do. It puts us in a very unique position, because whenever we get the urge to say something or do something, like, we hear not only their particular voices, but also like the logic and or lack of logic sometimes, like the reasoning behind it. Like, we already know what they're going to say and why they're going to say it, because we grew up in that exact same belief system and they pass that down to us. And so, I don't know. I mean, I did think about that before having that big conversation a few years ago. And I was like, but this is like my last shot, you know? I mean, sometimes I wish I was closer, and I wonder if that, you know, if I lived an hour and a half away like you do, I wonder if that would change the vibe. Because I've lived outside of the US for 15 years, and they've never come to see me. They've only ever seen me when I come back to my hometown, to the house I grew up in, to visit. Like, they cannot comprehend that I have a life outside of there. Like, they know it, but they don't.
They don't want to think about it.
They don't want to think about it because, again,
it's
like,
probably painful for them too, you know? Not saying it's justified, but...
Yeah, but like, why is it painful? You know? like, they both have passports. Like, why don't they come visit? And it's always some excuse. It's always some excuse. And again, exactly what you said earlier, I don't want it to sound like I'm shit talking my parents, because as much as I sometimes don't want to admit it, I know that they did the best that they could with what they knew.
Absolutely.
They didn't have a lot of the tools and resources that we have now. And it's a fine line between like staying in that comfort zone and ignorance. Well, I guess that is kind of different shades of the same thing. But like, I guess it's a fine line between sticking with your beliefs because you're very faithful and willful ignorance because they do have the tools, they do have the resources now. And they're choosing not to use them, you know? So again, like, not shit talking them. There's a lot of nuance in the whole parental relationship conversation that needs to be considered. And for some people, it's a lot more cut and dry, you know?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people really, especially like some of the conversations that I've had on social media, particularly threads about this type of thing, is there's a lot of just confusion with these kind of ambiguous parental relationships. And yeah, I think that hearing from other people is quite comforting in a way. But yeah, that conversation with my therapist did really get me thinking about a lot of different areas of my life as well, like contemplating whether the emotional weight of the situation is worth all of the effort planning this trip and actually going. Makes me consider like a lot of the choices that I make in daily life as well. Like, is the emotional cost of this worth the effort to make it happen?
And sometimes it is, but then sometimes it's really not.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now I'm thinking of the factor that we are both parentified oldest siblings. And then additionally, we were assigned female at birth, and we were raised as women, like in a patriarchal society. So like we are taught from like babyhood to consider other people's emotions and well-being over our own, like us having a servant's heart.
Oh God.
And I'm sorry, a bunch of people just like got triggered.
Totally forgot about that expression.
You know what other expression my sister and I love to use jokingly?
What?
Countenance. You always want to draw attention to your countenance, away from your body and towards your countenance.
Oh my vibe. Oh my God.
So
I
like
just said,
we got
my
pierced
vibe.
today. Oh my vibe.
I was thinking like, how would I phrase that now? Like the aura, the vibe. And I said, oh my vibe.
That's better than oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my vibe.
That could be an alternative. What were you saying about getting pierced today?
It's funny because my sister and I, like today we got piercings. Like I got my septum and she got like her labret pierced. And we were joking on the way in, like, this is going to be so good for drawing attention to our countenances. Like our parents are going to love this.
I wonder what they're going to say about it next time they see it.
I'm sure my dad won't mention it and my mom will be like, oh, it's so pretty.
Wow.
She tries really hard. And then, my dad just kind of never says anything.
Yeah.
That would lead to conflict. He loves debating, but I've made it very clear I don't want to do that with him. We kind of just have like a few things we bond over, like similar interests, and that's it. And we just like talk about those every time we see each other.
Yeah.
Like he's the reason that I'm a reader and a writer. I see in our outline, Syd remind Chris about The Handmaid's Tale. And I just remembered what that was about. So my dad, when I was in high school, he was getting his PhD in humanities, and he was reading a bunch of literature. And I don't even know like why he had this in his office, but he had The Handmaid's Tale in his office. Or no, sorry. It was another one of Margaret Atwood's books. It was a sci-fi called Oryx and Crake. And it's one of her lesser known books. Like, obviously, The Handmaid's Tale is a huge deal, but he had Oryx and Crake in his office, and that's how I discovered Margaret Atwood, and that's how I discovered feminism. All because he was reading that book for his PhD. So, like, he reads secular stuff. Like, he has read lots of secular works. I mean, speaking of dialecticals, I'm very conflicted with him because he's obviously a very intelligent man, but then he turns around and, like, supports Trump. And it's like, how the fuck can those two things coexist? Like, you have to be, like, delusional. And even saying that on this podcast, I feel like a traitor. You know, that's how deep it's unearned loyalty, really. But I still feel this fucked up sense of, like I can't say anything bad about my elders, you know, because they raised me and I need to be grateful, and, like, they're just trying their best. And yeah, those can all be true, and I can be upset about the ways I used the word duplicitous earlier. Like, it is very duplicitous to, like, pretend things are all fine and good and then turn around and, like, he loves Trump and Reagan and he has Netanyahu's biography in his office. Like, very problematic shit. And then we'll turn around and, like, have an hour-long discussion on a post-apocalyptic novel written in the 60s that we both love, you know? So it's like, really, it hurts. As long as I don't think about it too hard, I can tell myself, oh, I have a fine relationship with my dad. But it's like, look, I don't look like a straight person. Like, just look at me. Like, you're just going to ignore all of this and pretend nothing's happened. That's almost more offensive, you know? But then I go ahead and, like, avoid conflict. Like, it's not like I'm bringing this stuff up either.
Yeah. But I think also, like, you've been on the receiving end of that conflict so many more times than they have, you know? And you don't want to deal with the emotional pain of that. I mean, like, the entire way that you were raised and you've tried to talk to them about stuff before, and, you know.
I have not done as much as you have. Like, it sounds like you really took your time. Like, I haven't even tried explaining, like, the non-binary thing to them. Like, that, I'm not even close to talking about that with them.
I mean, to be fair, like...
And so your story doesn't instill me with much confidence.
No, like, the only reason that I did that is because my mom asked why I wouldn't come to church. And I was like, that's a big conversation. And I had to, you know?
Yeah.
I already knew that it wasn't going to do any good. I already knew that they weren't going to take me up on my offer. Did I have hope? Yes, but that's just kind of like the wounded inner child part. So it's like, of course. You know, I always describe my relationship with them and communication style as very business casual. And especially now, you know, and especially after that conversation, there's been zero deep conversation since then. There was very little before that because there were a lot of things that happened when I was with my ex for 6 years, and a lot of drama with that because it was very clearly not a good situation. But they were, you know, doing a lot of talking behind my back, and I had to send them big emails a couple times like, you have to cut this out or you're going to lose a relationship with me. And it was the same thing. It was never acknowledged. They never acknowledged it. They never brought it up again. And I knew that that's how this would turn out. But I did still hope that because I was talking with them in person about it, well, I talked to my mom about it in person, and then she went and relayed information to my dad, who then started asking a bunch of questionable questions, you know. And you mentioned being a lot more like your mom. I am a lot more like my dad, where, you know, he took me out. I don't know why he always does this when he takes me out to lunch. Whenever drama happens, he'll always take me out to lunch and try to have these, like, offensive conversations over food. And I'm like, this is not helping my issues. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
But I managed to dissociate just enough. And he was like, Mom thinks you don't love her anymore. And I was like, that's really dumb. He was like, yep, I told her the same thing. And he was like, well, what if it makes us feel good to call you she and her and our daughter and a woman? And I'm like, first of all, you don't ever call me any of those things except the pronouns, obviously. You know, I didn't say that, but I was just thinking, you never call me any of that. Like, you don't ever call me a woman. You don't ever call me your daughter. Like, what are you on about? Like, what if that makes us feel good? Who's going to give in? And I was just like, well, I don't have an answer for that right now, Daddy. Like, we're going to have to think about it. And he was like, yeah. And then we just started this conversation about how, like, debating's just not our thing. Like, we need time to think about stuff and digest stuff before coming back with some thoughts, you know? And the thing about that conversation is they never got back to me with their thoughts. So again, like, I wouldn't have done it if it had not been relevant to the conversation, you know? So I am by no means like a mark that you need to measure up to. Like, it's very situational. And I'll say one more thing about that regarding, you know, therapy last week and the thoughts that I've had since then. I was wondering if, since I'm still like quite on the fence about whether or not to go, just because that was such a hugely traumatic event. And I have blocked out most of that from my mind. I think listeners by now they're starting to realize that my brain blocks out a lot. I'm realizing now, the more inner work that I'm doing, that, yeah, there's a lot that I don't have access to at the moment, which is fine because I know that eventually it'll come back up. But immediately after that conversation, I made notes and I sent all of them to my best friend. That way I have like a record that I can go back and read through if I ever needed to. But yeah, I thought about maybe messaging my parents and being like, hey, do y'all remember that conversation from 3 years ago about being non-binary and that type thing? You know, I remember offering to, you know, spend time working through some of these like questions that you might have about it. And, you know, I never heard from y'all after that conversation and just wanted to see basically like, where y'all at, you know? I thought about texting them with something like that. And depending on their response, I think that would help make a decision about not only the trip in September, but about my relationship with them moving forward. Because I'm very on the edge of, do I keep hoping and do I keep this channel open? Or is it time to come to terms with the reality of the situation and release that? I don't know.
I don't think any of us know. Like, we're all just figuring this out. I think sometimes also the answer is, speaking of non-binary, like the answer is not going to be cut and dry. Like, it might be something you haven't even thought of yet. It might be a combination of like not talking and like, I don't know. For me personally, one of the biggest things I carry with me from the cult is thinking in absolutes. Like, there are two paths forward, the left or the right, and I have to pick one, and I can never go back on my decision, and I have to be absolutely certain that the decision I make is the one I want. And that feels a lot like evangelicalism, you know? It feels like being a kid being terrified to make the wrong decision, quote unquote. And I try to really tell myself these days, like, there are no right or wrong decisions. Like, there's just the decision that you make. And it's not always even permanent. I mean, I'm not saying don't, like, you should think through your decisions, obviously, and like all the repercussions, but there's so much nuance to everything. And I'm really glad that you're in therapy.
Yeah, I'm also really glad that you're in therapy. We're doing so good.
Yay. We really are. I had no idea we would just talk about our parents this whole time. I feel emotionally bowled over in a good way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm in good company I just know so many people have a lot of grief around this, and there's so many unhealed wounds and confusion. And I think one thing that I also face when dealing with my parents in particular is like the internalized shame and the internalized homophobia and the judgment. Like, in some ways, it doesn't matter that they're not judging me now. Because of the way I was brought up, like, I do that all by myself, you know? I don't need their help judging me anymore.
I do my own judgment, thank you. my own self-judgment.
No one hates me more than I hate myself, so you can't hurt me. It's funny because on my other podcast, Pickles and Vodka, this week, we were talking about something that my therapist and I have been talking about, which is thinking that I'm better than everyone else because I hold myself to such a higher standard, in part due to the way I was raised. But at the same time, I also think I'm the worst person that ever lived. And that's another example of those two extremes. Like, I'm either better than everyone else or I'm the worst person that ever lived. And there's no medium. And it sounds ridiculous, you know, when you say it like that. But I think it's something that a lot of, like, people who grew up in these sort of religions can relate to. It's exhausting.
Yeah, it definitely is. For a religion that teaches that haughtiness is such a horrible sin, it is just thick with the haughtiness. It goes back to parents basically deifying themselves, to not being able to see people of a different belief system as like friends or as people, but they're more like conversion projects. You know, when you're brainwashed to believe that this system of beliefs is the only way, it does create that, like, I don't think it's an ego, but that aggrandized, is it ego?
Right now I'm thinking of Palestine. Like, bear with me. I listened to a podcast about, like, why Americans don't see Gaza. It's by this podcast called Diabolical Lies. And one of the reasons is because this country has such a, like, an evangelical Puritan background. Like, we're Islamophobic and we don't really see those people as human. Like, even the Christian Zionists, they support Israel because they think the end of the world's going to come about, and, like, all those people will die, like, all the Jews will die too. But, like, in their, you know, apocalyptic vision, they don't care about anyone but the chosen people, aka the white people. And it just makes sense in that broader context. You're like, oh yeah, of course they can't see things this way. That doesn't go with the narrative that is rampant here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I tend to, like, go off on the deep end sometimes and, like, broaden the conversation in ways I have no right to.
No, but I mean, it might not be related to, like, parents, but it's the same vibe. It's
vibe.
Yeah, oh my vibe. ADHD brain.
Also, we never introduced ourselves.
Dude, halfway through this conversation, I was like, no one has any idea what our names are.
It's fine. They can find out if they really want to.
Should we record, like, something to put at the beginning?
Yeah.
We can always be like, we forgot to introduce ourselves, so this is us from the future. Hello, my name is Syd.
And I'm Chris. And this is Clothesline Podcast.
We've never done that before.
Yeah, maybe that's for the best.
Maybe we should never do that again. Do we have any other intro ideas?
I don't know, man.
It's a conversation for another time.
But yeah, I think this is really important to talk about, even if we didn't plan to. And I think there's a lot here that we've barely touched that we'll get into at a future date. Like, I think I'm really looking forward to hearing feedback too, and, like, other people's stories. I
know I did post a couple things at some point about going no contact or going low contact, or how do people navigate that situation. And a lot of people shared their stories.
I'm gonna take a hot shower and smoke some weed after this.
That sounds like an excellent plan. I'm going to go eat breakfast.
Try to eat something, yeah.
Yeah. It's 10:23 a.m. for me.
On Tuesday, and it's
on Tuesday.
6:23 p.m. on Monday for me, so Syd is living in the future.
Yeah.
It never gets less weird.
It's
also,
weird.
I love technology.
Yeah. Technology is great.
Oh my god, wait. Syd, I found an artifact that revealed to me the exact date I started Homeschool Blogger. Maybe we should save it for the next episode. I found a screenshot of an old blog. So apparently, before I started Homeschool Blogger, I had a secret blog on Blogspot. And basically, I joined Homeschool Blogger in 2007. So like way later than we thought.
2007? I thought...
Yeah. So I was like 15.
Yeah, because I was 14.
Well, you might have joined earlier, but that's when I joined. It was 2007.
Maybe I was 14. I don't know.
Memory, I mean, we were talking about memory earlier. It's so fallible, especially when you've had a childhood like ours. Like, it makes me wonder what else I'm misremembering.
Sometimes I wish that I had not burned those old journals of mine. I didn't burn all of them, but I burned the ones that had like so much trauma associated with them. Like when I got in trouble and I was forced to write certain Bible verses like 50 times. Those are the ones that I was like, chuck it in the bonfire.
I don't blame you one bit. Right before this, I was looking through my journal from high school and it's really heavy. It kind of made me want to cry. Yeah, for future episodes, I'll share some of that. Or if you join our Patreon, you'll get access to stuff like that, traumatical journal entries. But it's really painful to look back. But it's also like, I don't know, for me, maybe it's because I write memoirs, so it's like in my nature to kind of investigate the past. It's very important to me to know what really happened because my memory is so fallible. And I know that I'm prone to be like emotionally manipulated and like that fucks with your memory too. I don't know. Yeah. We've reached the point where I just start saying, I don't know, after every sentence.
That's okay. This has been a very good conversation. And we managed to stick to a topic.
Give yourself a pat on the back.
I'm giving myself a pat on the back. I think that we both kind of needed to have this conversation, and I think a lot of people will also hopefully feel comforted by the realities of how confusing it is to have left these strict belief systems and still be in kind of a limbo zone in regards to parental relationships. And we don't have the answers, but we're not the only ones going through it.
You, listener, are not the only one. Why was it so awkward after that?
That was
awkward
like,
silence.
So daunting.
I can't take anything seriously.
Out of context, that's just going to be the bit at the beginning. You, listener, are not the only one. It's like, oh God.
Listen, that's just my face, okay? I don't have any control over it. I have mad resting bitch face. Like, ever since I was a baby, I have baby pictures of me with just a massive, like, resting bitch face.
Same.
It's very funny.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a effective asshole repeller. And the people who are generally not intimidated by it are usually fairly cool people, I've found.
Yeah.
I reckon now is a good time to wrap it up.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
We'll try to remember to introduce ourselves.
Like in the beginning rather than at the end, and then put it at the beginning. It'll be fine.
Yeah, God will work out the details.
God will work out the details.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
Clothesline Podcast is a labor of love by and for survivors of religious trauma. If you enjoyed this episode and want to support us, share Clothesline with a friend. To sign up for every new episode, subscribe for free at clotheslinepod.substack.com. Want to go the extra mile? support us on Patreon and get access to bloopers, journal entries, and more. If you could relate to this episode, we want to hear from you. You can follow Syd on Threads at HouseGhostCreative and Chris at XTinaJumper. We hope we'll see you next time.